Joy Holiday. We're located in Millbrae, which is not too far from here. We've been around since 1995, and we do all types of tours and travel, and we have our own vehicles. We have our buses. We have about 14 units right now, large, medium, and small buses. Those buses, we go all over the western region of the United States. And for our outbound trips, we do a lot of Asian trips as well as the rest of the world. And we especially love to put together trips like this one, which involves not just tourism, but a little bit of culture, a little bit of history, plus learning. So we feel that this is especially meaningful, all right, to be able to bridge the two cultures, the East and the West. Okay, so we do quite a few over the years. So this one, I was fortunate to have the chance to talk with Mrs. Chen, and Mrs. Chen told me that she really wanted to put something like this together a couple of years ago, but it didn't happen. So that's why I'm here to help, and I'll be glad to answer any questions afterwards. So why don't we start by going into, well, I just talked about us, a little bit more about us. We're a member of the National Tour Association, or NTA. We've been a member since 2008, and I was actually on the board of 2014 and 15 because the board wanted to develop or know more about the China tourism, China-USA tourism, outbound, inbound, both ways. So I've been involved with those kind of work. And also, we're with BBB, the Better Business Bureau, for many years, and we have an A+ rating. So those you'll be able to search that online and you see us. Also Google, yeah. If you Google us, we have some pretty good reviews because we have great tour directors. We offer a lot of good services, and we have a lot of good feedback for all types of tours. So we're multilingual, so that means we have guys that speak English, Chinese, or other languages. We could work with different types of groups. And for us, doing this type of trip from USA to China, our tour directors will most likely, okay, depending on the group, such as our group, we'll have a tour director from USA all the way to China or wherever, Taiwan. And this way, even though you will still get the local guides in China and Taiwan, but we'll still have a guide all the way from USA go around with the whole group, and that will be an added bonus. It will make a huge difference. Okay, so I can talk about that later, but not now. Yeah, why it's better to have somebody go all the way through with the group. Welcome. Yeah, please have a seat anyway. Over here is fine. Okay. So yeah, this is a photo of the National Tour Association board member of 2014. That's me right there. Yeah, this is when we had the board visit Beijing, and these are the board members. That's me right there. Who are the Great Wall of China, and also we met with the Tourism Board of China in Beijing, the headquarters. We had a discussion about the bilateral tourism, and as well as other provincial tourism departments. So it would be like a diplomatic relation. So we do that quite often. Yeah, so we set up tourism so that we can do more exchange and, you know, going both ways. All right, so for this here plan for folks, we assume that most of us have not been to China or Taiwan, so we start with Beijing, all right? And according to the schedule for the spring break, okay, that will be April the 12th, flying to Beijing, and we've selected United Airlines for our flight. And it's going to be 15 hours ahead, okay? So they're 1 day ahead of us. So usually, you know, once we arrive, we're probably just going to relax and go to the hotel, right? Most likely, all right? So so on the 13th, actually, is the arrival day. And then the second day, we start visiting Beijing by going to the Forbidden City. So those of you who have no idea what that means, it's just it used to be the place where the emperor does the business and lived, the home of the emperor. It was then the White House of China during the Ming and Qing dynasties. Okay, all right. So it is very impressive. Okay, it's one, you know, it's a must-see when you go to Beijing, and you walk inside and then you see rows of walls all the way until you get to the place where the emperor meets and does business with the high-ranking officials. And then visiting the next building after that will be the resting quarters and other areas. So it's a huge place and it's well preserved and very impressive. Well, after that, we're doing something that's not usually done if it's just a regular tour group. So for our group, we do painting, making kites. Now those are just two examples. We could throw in other things. We could, learn how to cut paper with scissors and make them into lanterns or animals or whatever. We could do a lot of different type of traditional Chinese art or Chinese historical arts and crafts. So we can learn and get hands-on. So we like to get our group, engaged in, in these kind of activities. So you not only see, but you also, get immersed by doing. Okay. So I think that's a very important component. Right? And then we rest, and then the next day we visit. Of course, we're going to see the Great Wall. Okay. Now, it's a World Heritage Site. You can see it from outer space. Man-made structure. Okay, very long, and it's of course it says here, 21,000 kilometers from the east to the west. Quite impressive. Okay, it's built by the first emperor called Qing in the Qing dynasty, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor Qing, and thousands of years ago, 3,000 years ago. So, I personally would always do something different, when we're out there doing the tours. Whereas other groups may be arriving after probably getting, through the traffic, having breakfast, go through the traffic, get there around 10, 11. We would actually leave early. And probably just have a breakfast on the way and get away from the traffic right? By getting up earlier, since we're still getting over the jet lag, and because this is only the second day we're out there, and most of us will, get up pretty early. So I like to do that because, since we're up already, why don't we just go? Yeah, so that's why we do it differently. We kind of, get a head start, so to speak. All right, so that way we beat the traffic. And also, when we get there, I love it when there's nobody around, just us, because you can't get crowded, in China, at various sightseeing places. Okay? So usually our groups will just love it, yeah, because when they have the whole Great Wall there, and they're not, they're not like bumper to bumper with all the tour passenger tour groups, you get more enjoyable time there and nicer pictures. So once we're done, and we'll see all the cars and buses pulling in, and people go up there like, crowded everywhere. But we're through already, okay? And then we go to lunch, and then we go do other things. And then for that day we could visit the one of the more prestigious schools in Beijing. Right? We have good relationships with many schools and colleges and universities, as well as high schools, because we have partners in Beijing that have been working with the tourism and educational sector for many years. Ever since we started in 1995, we've been sending groups from America to China. So we've done it, we have a lot of experience there. All right. So we've done a lot of music groups. I just want to give you an example. I know we're not the music group, but we have done groups where we set up a group where they perform on the Great Wall with American students and then Chinese students together, perform music for all the tourists. And they were all very impressed. All right, so we've done stuff like that before. We do a campus visit, communication activities, sports, academic exchange, introduce ourselves. They're going to introduce themselves. We're going to know more about what life is like for students over there, what type of day they go through, just get, mingle together, and we want to try to have a basketball kind of, play a little, sports, yeah. So that's second day. And then Temple of Heaven, all right? It's also another impressive place where the emperors go to pray for better harvest, so they pray for the heaven, all right? So very traditional, very historical. A lot of history on how the ancient China operated. So you learn a lot there too, right? And also, whenever we visit Temple of Heaven, we notice that we would always like to go in the morning. So in the morning time especially, you have all these people lined up there doing line dancing, and then this group here, you're doing the Tai Chi, and some are doing dances, or just a group of people playing chess in the morning. So, and there's just some just out there doing morning exercises. So it's like a, you actually see it's not just a touristy stuff, but a touristy place, but it's also a place where there's a community of people living there. Just being involved right there. So, I think it's always neat to see. Now, then we go to do the rickshaw ride and go into the hutong. Now, what does that mean, hutong? It would be like square villages where families will share a courtyard. And they share everything else, okay, like restroom or bathroom. But families, or some are close, some are not related, some are related. So those hutongs are left there since the Ming Dynasty, which is maybe 300 or 400 years ago. So those are very historical, and we do a traditional rickshaw ride. So you can go through the neighborhood, see the real China, the old neighborhood. So most people really enjoy that. It's fun. Yeah. And then we have, of course, we need to have roast duck, Beijing Peking duck. Now, we mention it because it's iconic, but practically every meal you're going to try something different, something new. And we love to put in different types of menu, good food, so that you could, from the food, you can also learn about the culture. And why is it that when you go to the north, they eat noodles more than rice? And why do you go to Sichuan or other places, they eat spicy food? There are reasons, because it's related to the geography and some of the beliefs and traditions of the local people. So by tasting the food and trying different foods, you actually have a deeper understanding of your culture. So of course, food is all tied up, very closely tied with us, because it goes into us and it becomes us. So we like to also go to a farm where you can see how the farmers in China today produces their foods. Okay, so you learn something there, the agricultural ways where how they deal with this growth, harvest, how they use the latest technology and science to enhance the growth, and how they supply food to the public. So there's, but this is tentative, because we want to know about the group first before we decide finally on which, if we're going to do an agricultural experience or high tech or science. So it really depends on the group. So Mrs. Chen and I were still working on that, but the others are going to be set. Just this type of special visit where we could modify that, or we can change it. Okay? But for now, this is on the list for Beijing, and most people love it because it's also at a natural setting where you have a little ecology rather than just being in buildings. Okay. And then we done with Beijing. We'll head to Shanghai. Yeah. So, of course, everybody knows Shanghai is metropolis. People often compare it to New York, but it's pretty much the economic center of China, right? With the fancy skyscrapers and everything. If you want to see something that represents the modern China, Shanghai is the place to go, right? If you want to see the political center and the historical center, go to Beijing, okay? It's the capital, right? But Shanghai, there's two ways to get there. So we choose the better way depending on the season and depending on the situation. So more than likely, we're going to do the high-speed rail. Okay, so you can. It's actually very comfortable. Yeah, it travels like about 300 kilometers an hour. Yeah, kilometers, not miles. Okay. Yeah, very fast. Okay, miles probably around not yet 200 maybe, less than 2. Yeah, about 200. It's still fast. Right? So you can experience that, right? You find out when you go to China, you see this. Everybody knows it's a big, it's a big population. You have what, 1.4 billion people. So if everybody fly, then airports be jammed all the time. So their solution is to keep building and building high-speed rail. So it's linking all the provinces up, all the cities in China, and it's quite convenient, yeah, and get you places, yeah. So we're going to try to do the high-speed rail. All right, and then we get to the Bund, which is, the Bund just means the area where everybody goes to see the beautiful night, the lights and the river, the Huangpu River, okay, the river that goes right through the metropolitan area of Shanghai. Nanjing Road, you see lots of people. It's the busiest shopping street probably in all of China. All right, you see the modern China right there, and you see how China is changing. Okay, so those of you who are not really familiar with China would think that China is pretty like a lot of villages. Things are still kind of just like the countryside. But when you get there, you're gonna see a whole different world. So it's interesting to go there. But we feel that in Shanghai we don't need to really spend a lot of time, but we just want to go there. And then we'll fly from Shanghai to Taipei, Taiwan. Okay, so it's an island, okay, off the coast of mainland China. Okay, now Mrs. Chen and myself, we were from Taiwan, actually. Yeah, so a little bit about myself personally. I immigrated to USA with my family in 1980. So I pretty much came as a little kid, and I grew up here. I lived in Chicago. I lived in Maryland, near DC, and I've been in California since '95. And in '95, I came here. I continued my studies. I studied at the San Francisco State University. I studied philosophy, and I've been involved with tourism business since in the early '90s. So even when I was studying, I had been a tour director. So this is, as you can see, this is my passion. And also Taiwan is a really a passionate place for many visitors. It's very friendly. Okay, it's a different type of country, different type of government system. Just to familiarize the history about Taiwan is it became a separate system with the mainland China in 1949 when there was a civil war. It was a civil war, so pretty much, as you know, Chinese government is ruled by one party, and then Taiwan is ruled by another party. So they're all originally Republic of China, okay, all the same. But then they have two different systems. And we feel that it would be very interesting to have us go see, if you want to really see the Chinese people and the land of China, we feel that it's important to have Taiwan because it's also a part of China. But under a different system, you could feel the difference in the infrastructure, the people, the way things are, handled, and a lot of different things. Okay, so anyway, the Sun Yat-sen. This is a memorial hall, which is a beautiful building, very impressive. But let me tell you the significance of this. He was a doctor and went into politics, and he went to politics by starting a war with the Qing emperor. Right? Yeah. So that was in the early 1900s. He overthrew the Qing dynasty. So it marked the end of the feudal, the feudal society, or the emperor, kind of a way. And much like in USA democracy, it set up the democratic government in all of China. All right. So that was started by Dr. Sun. All right. So he's also called the father of the country of China. Because he changed the old ways. And then Chiang Kai-shek was his general, his successor. Okay, he was the leader for the military, and as well as he became the president of the new China. All right, and after the Civil War, he had been defeated, so the troops retreated to the island of Taiwan, and my grandparents were among the troops. My grandparents was Navy, and on my mother's side, her side was Air Force. Right. So I was born in Taiwan, but my dad and my grandparents were actually born in China, but then they came on a ship fleeing to the mainland, to the island. So, and then we got mixed together with the folks who were already there, starting for, about 300 years ago from the Ming Dynasty. There were a lot of fishermen that went from the coast of China that sailed over to Taiwan 200-300 years ago, or even earlier than that. And at that time, 200-300 years ago, there were a lot more of the Aborigine or the native people, right? So Taiwan also has a lot of native culture. Just to give you kind of a background. Taipei 101 is over 100 stories tall. It's the tallest structure pretty much in all of China right now, so including the mainland. So it's a very impressive structure, and it's also a very modern area, Taipei. And most people enjoy Taipei very much because it's very comfortable. It's very modern. It has a lot of pubs, a lot of restaurants, a lot of also many night markets. Speaking of night markets, there are a lot of them everywhere. But what happens is you just, we'll take one chance to have everybody go into the night market. It's safe. It's very, very safe. When we're talking about night market, people start worrying, okay, so we're going out at night. But just when we go to the night market, we go together through the night market, and lots of little different kind of eatery, lots of different interesting stuff, okay? And it's just the whole atmosphere. It's just very, Taiwan is very well known for that. But that's what we're going to do when we get to Tainan. Tainan means, Tai means the first letter of Taiwan, but Nan means south. So south of Taiwan, Tainan. So Taipei, Pei means Bei, means north. So Taipei is the capital of Taiwan. So we land near the capital, but we're going to go straight to Tainan, the southern part. And southern part of Taiwan is known for its delicious food. Like I said, you can taste a lot of them at the night market. And also the friendly people. The people are very warm. People are just kind of different than city people, but it's also got city and agriculture. It's got a mix of everything. So we go there and we spend the night, and then that's actually where we're gonna have the high school that Mrs. Chen and I have. We have a relationship with at school, and they will be able to come out with us and greet us, and then the next day we'll go to the next morning we will go visit the high school. All right, we will sit in class with them, and we will get to know each other by introducing ourselves, and we'll do a little hands-on activity, maybe a little cooking class or something. But those are alternative. But that's why we want to really to make it happen, so we can get our hands dirty. Well, not dirty, but just learn how to maybe make dumplings or something. Yeah, we feel that's a good way to break the ice and know each other, and may or may not do a basketball or whatever sports, but we'll do, those are all we'll talk about those details when we have a group together, and then in the afternoon we'll go see the historical sites of Tainan with the students of that high school together on the same bus. So the teachers there and the students there with us all together. They will be kind of the escorts or the tour docents or guides. At the same time, they will take turns introducing their home to you. So I would feel that will be a very meaningful way to get to know each other. Palace Museum, okay? Now, 700,000 pieces of ancient Chinese imperial artifacts and artworks were moved over from China when my grandfather fled China. No, I was just saying, Chiang Kai-shek, okay, had brought those treasures from the mainland to Taiwan. all right, when he lost the mainland, he lost it. But he decided to keep that. So it's in the museum in Taipei, all right? And that's why you get to see a lot of the, oh my goodness, a lot of treasures. Yeah, just, you know. And we're gonna have somebody, well, I think Mrs. Chen has somebody who's gonna give us detailed orientation and, you know, narration of all the artifacts, dating all the way back to Qing Dynasty. You know, so we've got 5,000 years of culture and history in that building. Yeah. All right, so that's going to be very enjoyable. Xiling residence is like the president's home when Chiang Kai-shek, the original president that came in 1949. Beautiful garden, right? And you learn through his lens and his perspective about his challenges coming to an island and then losing the whole China, whole mainland, and can come to a small island like this, and now what? Okay, well, first of all, you're always thinking, okay, I gotta get it back. You know, China needs to, I need to get back what I lost. But then at the same time, he wanted to really do a good job with the democracy in Taiwan, so he worked very hard on developing Taiwan in the early days. Martyrs' Shrine is very interesting because most of the tourists will enjoy the marching and the changing of guards, which is very impressive. Very inspirational too. Yeah. So, and yeah, back when during the World War II, or right before World War II, the army had dealt with invasion from Japan, and at that time we were allies. USA, Taiwan, you know, China, USA were allies. So, you know, a lot of the system is still very similar. Okay, USA and China, the way it's, you know, managed the whole country. Ximending is in downtown Taipei. Is also another place where a lot of young folks go. You see a lot of, you know, so busy, very busy. You got shopping, you got eatery, you got restaurants, you got, you know, a whole lot of things going on. Very interesting stuff. You know, yeah, here's a big pineapple cake. That's one of the, you know, the favorite delicacies, but probably the most famous dessert in Taiwan. But you are going to be amazed at how many different kinds of food and desserts that you will be bombarded with when you're in Taiwan. It's got the mix of whole Chinese culture right in this little island with 23 million people. Because when the, you know, like I said, 1949, people fled the country from all different types of, all different areas and provinces and different types of backgrounds. They have different foods. So Taiwan is like a heaven for, you know, for tasting, food tasting. Yeah, Yeli was a very beautiful place by the sea. Yeah, it's a very unique rock formation. The Queen's Head, very famous. Jiufen is like the, you know, over here the Chinese call San Francisco area or the Sierra Nevadas, they call it the Gold Hill. You have the Gold Hill in Taiwan where they wanted, where there was mining going on, but now it's a little, you know, very neat ancient village streets with tea houses, you know, very unique and special. Fish, there's also a fisherman's wharf in Taiwan, okay, and Danshu, okay. So those are the coast, you know, because Taiwan's in the island, so you get a little bit of the coast. And looks like it's, yeah, then it's flight home from Taipei, all right. So, yeah, so of the tour package, it will include pretty much from start to finish, pretty much everything, because you have flights, okay, international and domestic flights. We have accommodations, all accommodations, we only use 4- and 5-star hotels, nothing less than 4 stars. We want to make sure that everybody rests well and enjoy the hotels as well as the destinations. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, very comfortable transportation. Of course, we have high standards for vehicles, and we don't go for the type of vehicles that are not up to par. We need them to be well maintained, very new, very comfortable. So we want to, that's very important for safety reasons. Okay. So yeah, air ticket, local and as well as, like I said, international tour director from USA. We will have one, and then all the entrance fees, all meals, water. It says 2 bottles here, and accommodations, and then tips is an optional. You can pay when you sign up, or you can pay at the end. It's up to you. All right. So generally for all the driver, tour director, guides, total together, one passenger will pay 10 each day, and that already includes everybody. So you just pay 10, and that's it. Okay, and then for that one day. And then you have to pay the visa service, and the visa, we can help you with that. All right, the visa, or you can do it yourself. The Chinese consulate is over by Laguna and Giri, and that will be right across the street from Japantown, next to the St. Mary's Cathedral. $170 will include everything. We'll get it done for you. You don't have to travel anywhere. Just give us your passport. We ask you to fill out a simple form. Give us. We'll even pick it up. We'll pick it up, and we'll deliver it to you. Make it very easy for you. All right, that will be $170. Now, if you do it yourself, I think it's also 140 or something like that. Something like that. Okay. So you pay a little bit of service charge for the delivery, for getting in line and get all that stuff taken care of. All right, so it's up to you. All right, and you get 10 years. So that was the last administration, right? The USA made it bilateral agreement, 10 years visa. So you could years later, before it's up, you can go back to China and visit other parts, because we're only seeing 2 cities. All right. Yeah, so cancellation policy. Yeah, pretty much. We'll let you know. When there's an issue about cancellation, travel insurance is highly recommended, right? So, if you need help with that, we can help you. But there's a bunch of insurance companies that will, be able to easily get your travel insurance. There's not much add-ons or extra excursions. So that means you don't need to. We're not gonna ask you to, like you're on a cruise ship, and then do you want to go here? And you pay $100 here or $200 here. We're not going to do that. Everything is all inclusive. All right. So anything not listed would be maybe personal, your own spare money, or it's just a little bit, but you don't really need a whole lot of money, because we're not a shopping tour. We don't take you shopping for the sake of shopping. Like go buy jade or a lot of tour groups, they do, when they go to Beijing, they visit the jade factory, and then sometimes they go to like Shanghai, they go to a silk factory, or something like that. Well, or tea plantation, or even Chinese traditional Chinese healing and medical practitioner, and then they'll teach you about Chinese medicine. They teach you about all the stuff about China, which is very interesting. But we are not going to get anyone involved with any shopping, because this is a different group. This is not a regular tour group. Right? So you don't have to worry about, okay, being coerced into a shopping, so you spend money. We actually have a responsibility to not let you spend money, because we don't want you to come back and then you found yourself spending a whole lot of money, and then you got a lot of things that you, at the time, you were like really excited. Oh yeah, this is what I need. And then when you come back here, all this, just let it sit there and just go to waste. So yeah, we don't involve with stuff like that. So that's, I just give you, wow, I took longer than I had, I anticipated, but that was the rundown of the plan, okay? So basically, this will be something that you're going to remember for a long time if you partake in it, especially for teenagers, people are just starting out with their lives. I think it's a wonderful experience, because getting to know, okay, what's on the other side of the globe. They say you dig a hole and you go straight down and you get to China. This, you have to have a world view, okay? And it will be interesting, because you're going to be able to see the old, the new, the east and the west, all right? The traditional plus the modern, the ideas that are clashing, the challenges they are facing, the good, the bad, the negative, the positive, and it will be a good comparison and contrast, so that when you come back here, you'll be able to, you see things differently. Okay, you open your eyes, widen your horizon. So I think it's one of the best investments anyone can make, because you get a certain amount of knowledge from reading, which is good, but once in a while, you kind of want to go out there and learn by being there, and it's just different chemistry. Okay, so I especially love this kind of tour, because I myself, I love learning. I love exchange. I love to, talk about things that are meaningful, and making friends, and bringing happiness, and bringing, friendship and culture to bridge the gap, so to speak. All right. So that's my presentation. I hope that was okay for you.